danger of sin is quite obvious. Any person who has a little bit of knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah also understands the danger of sin. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, on one occasion he explained something that is even more severe than sin itself. Now, what can be more severe than sin? Sin is the most harmful and dangerous thing. Something more severe than sin. So he explained that a person, for example, he got involved in a sin. So that sin was obviously a major problem. That was a severe thing. But at that time, while he was involved in that sin, he became totally shameless from even the angels that are with him all the time, on his right, on his left. That shamelessness, that is even worse than the sin that he was committing at that time. That a person, if there's a little child around also, he'll be having some degree of shame, but he didn't have shame from the angels of Allah Ta'ala. That is worse than the sin that he committed. Then further he says that the person who committed a sin and then felt happy about it, that he managed to get in that sin. He felt happy that he managed to acquire that haram. That happiness that he felt is actually worse than that sin itself. Somebody didn't manage to, he was planning some haram, he was planning to commit some sin, and he didn't end up committing it because of whatever obstacle came in the way. So one is out of the fear of Allah Ta'ala, a person then suddenly realized, what am I up to, where am I heading to? Out of the fear of Allah Ta'ala, he withdrew from that and went away. That is a very great thing. But due to some obstacle, he did not manage to commit that sin, and he felt some sorrow in his heart that I lost out, I missed out on this. That sorrow that he felt on his heart of having missed out on a sin is even more severe than that sin had he committed it. Not that that sin is anything minor, it's a major problem, but this is even worse than that. That he's feeling now, na'udhu billah, left out, feeling that he lost out because he lost out on a sin. So sometimes a person might just not be conscious about how, or not be careful about how he's engaging his heart, what he's thinking about, or what is he up to. But that thought of his sometimes can be even worse than the sin, because that shows a complete indifference to Allah Ta'ala's command, complete indifference to the harm that Allah Ta'ala has declared about various things. That Allah Ta'ala is declaring the harm, but it doesn't bother me, na'uzubillah. So that thought can be even more serious and severe than the sin. That shamelessness can be more severe than the sin itself. Now, obviously, these things don't just finish off with something then that the person committed some wrong. The impact of that then carries on far more deeper, and after that act also. He got caught up in that sin and that finished off in whatever time. But this thought now and this manner of his feeling happy about himself that he went to did something and he got away with it, or feeling sorry for himself that he didn't manage to get into a sin, now that is lingering in his mind for whatever time. That is worse than that sin. He's probably now in namaz, he's in salah, he's in maybe making tilawat of the Quran Sharif, he's learning his sabak, whatever he's doing, but this thought is lingering in his mind. It is worse than that sin that he committed. So this is how important it is that to, number one, stay far away from any wrong. Number two, being insan, a person can sometimes perhaps slip up somewhere, but that's not something to feel happy about. It's something to be extremely agitated, concerned, afraid. Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that a mu'min, Anbiya alayhim salam are ma'soom. Besides them, nobody is ma'soom. So a mu'min also can slip up somewhere, but if he made a mistake, that mistake of his is like he's at the foot of a mountain which is about to just fall on him. That's how afraid he feels. And a munafiq feels when he committed a sin like a fly sat on his nose and he just shoot it away. That's the difference between a mu'min and a munafiq. The munafiq thinks nothing about it. And a mu'min, it will be like as if this mountain is going to fall on me just now. So, number one, a person never ever gets close to sin. Allah forbid if something happened, then a person is required to become very afraid, very concerned until such time that he has made sincere tawbah, shed tears of repentance and washed away the effects of that sin. Then only can he feel a little bit of peace and ease. Otherwise, if his iman is true, then he will be extremely concerned and worried that the effects and impacts of the sin must not overtake me. Allah Ta'ala give us.
अल्लाह अल्लाह कैसा प्यारा नाम है, आशिकों का मीना और जाम है।